Oh, snaps. Look at people getting notifications. It's been 12 long years since people have gotten a notification when I went live. And I'm so very, very thankful that you all are with me today. What's up, peeps? Ham Banana. Paradise Pete 73. No. Oh, I don't know what that means. Joshio Herrera. What's going on? What's going on? Moshi Joshi. Mashi Joshi or Moshi Joshi. I don't know which one. We're going to go with Moshi Joshi. It sounds better. Jason V. What's up? Sam. The Reddest Bull. White hair. Daisy Tinkerbell. Chicago in the house. Chi-Town. Chirac in the building. Perfect for the drive. Oh yeah, man. We about to we turning up too. We turning up. Brawl Devil. Chris David. AMG Boys. God bless Georgia. Y'all need it out there. We're in Massaguah. Let's help Niko get the California convention. Hell yeah. You can go to if you go to the community tab, you can see the GoFundMe link. I'm going to be posting the GoFundMe link after the video as well. You know, we got to, when I get in that California convention, y'all know what's up. Y'all know what is up. When we get out there, I'm acting a whole fool. Cameron Merrill. Oh, I appreciate that. Shane Carlson, Free Energy, Jennifer Hertzler. OG Politics, I was about to say that was the most stupid hit piece on anyone. Huh. Oh yeah, it was. That Daily Beast hit piece. I know it was worse than the NBC hit piece. There, you know why? But let's be honest though, right? The Daily Beast has been at large ignoring Tulsi because she was quote unquote irrelevant. But she is getting on the debate stage now. There's nothing they can do about that. And like I tell people, for everybody who swears up and down, oh, she has no chance, she has no chance. I don't know if y'all ever gonna get tired of this, but I don't just say shit for my health. I don't put myself out there or make quote unquote predictions that aren't really predictions because we have history to fall back on and learn from. When I say everything will change after the debates, it's because I literally saw it happen to Bernie Sanders right in front of my eyes. It was insanity, and I was like knee deep in it. Bernie went from almost no name recognition to the most Googled candidate. Excuse me. After the first debates, Bernie was the most Googled thing on the internet. Like, period, point blank. He was #1 in Google Trends after the debate. So, Patrick, what up, Chess Niblet? What? Yes, go on Rogan. I wish. I mean, I don't got that type of pull. Rogan don't know me like that. I wish, though. I'm going to talk to Tulsi when I get out there. I'm like, hey, man, put a good word for him, brother. You know. Gabriel Badwolf from Ireland. What's going on? Cheers from Brazil. E aí, beleza? Den Lopez. Tudo bem? Tudo bom? Alex M. Tulsi is Bernie with no compromise. Basically. Jason V. Hey, Niko, I personally don't care because Tulsi is my girl, but are there any codified DNC rules that allow Tulsi to give her delegates to Bernie? Yeah, 100%. That's kind of how it works. Why do you think the establishment is running so many candidates? They're going to try and split the vote even Bill de Blasio announced, and he knows damn well he's not winning this election. But they realize that Kirsten Gillibrand is an utter failure. They thought because she's a senator, okay, we can count on her to pull some votes away from Bernie and then hand those votes off to whoever the establishment candidate may or may not be. However, Kirsten Gillibrand has been I don't want to call her a dumpster fire. More like some little ember, some ashes. She just is a non-factor at this point. So my 83-year-old and 84-year-old grandfather love Tulsi. I support Bernie or Tulsi, but my grandparents are all in for Tulsi. Good stuff. Good stuff. Superdelegates are going to mess with the Democratic primary again. It's a good chance. It's a good chance that they might. And I'm not can't even pretend like that's not a thing. We're gonna get started in like 2 minutes. Got a large Tulsi sign display in front of my window in New Jersey. Hey, turn up. If I had a yard, I would do that. I don't have a yard though. The middle will not go for Bernie. Sorry to say, I don't trust his principles after Hillary last time. You know what's crazy? It's not even that I don't trust his principles after the Hillary Clinton thing. Like, because I understood why he did it. The truth is that Bernie, if anything, he is a man that keeps his promises and he's a man of principle. It's one of those things that's like it's his biggest, one of his most positive traits, but it's also one of his biggest flaws. Because in my opinion, in my estimation, and y'all can feel how you want to about this, but I'm not loyal to not a damn soul that isn't going to be loyal to me. Especially if you cheated me, you think I'm going to be loyal to you or your rules? Y'all kiss my ass. That ain't happening. But, you know, this is a different type of man. But what bothered me, no. Hell no, random line. Random line. Get that Warren nonsense out of here. We don't play that. We don't vote for Zionists. We don't vote for warmongers. We don't vote for finger waggers with no accountability. We don't vote for people who take corporate money. I don't know why y'all keep trying to come in here with that Bernie Warren nonsense. Warren is a shill with no backbone. Period. Alan Fex. AOC made a Faustian bargain. There's no way in hell they would ever give her the exposure she gets without her failing on Iran and Venezuela, etc. I agree. It seems like it's starting to look like that. It's breaking my heart because I really like AOC. But I do believe, like I said, I believe her ego supersedes her progressivism. And at the end of the day, me as a journalist, I have a job to do. And my job is not to cheerlead for a damn soul. That's just the facts. You know, like I said, Tulsi earned my endorsement. Tulsi earned my endorsement. And it was not an easy one to make. It was, as far as objectively, it was easy, but like I was part of the Bernie Sanders revolution culture also. So just separating from that and looking at everything from an objective lens was indeed somewhat difficult. But, you know, made the right decisions. Warren is weak sauce. Tulsi Sanders 2020. Hello. Tulsi for Secretary of State now. I mean, if you want to have Tulsi as Secretary of State right at this very moment, hell yeah, I take that. Because basically, Bolton is running the damn country. Or is he Secretary of Defense? Yeah, no. He's Secretary of State and Pompeo's Secretary of Defense, right? Yeah, either way, they're running the country. Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense are running the country right now. While Trump just kind of does whatever the hell Trump does. So, wish more people will call Warren out. I know, it's weird. I don't know why more people don't. Because I'm like, she gets it wrong. She's been wrong on every major war. She's been wrong on every major conflict. She's been wrong in Iran. She's been wrong on Venezuela. She's been wrong on Israel and Palestine. She's literally taking corporate money up to like 2 days ago, and she plans on taking corporate money again like next week if she wins. I don't know why people are so easily, like, I don't get it. The only do you know how much of an opportunist she seemed like at this point? Nobody really knew who she was unless you were a political junkie. She used Bernie Sanders' name, like just the allure of her potentially endorsing Bernie. She used that to boost her own prospect. And then when the time came to do the right thing in the middle of us still voting in California, not me, I wasn't there, but people were still voting in California because that's a long election. Votes were still being tallied. And this woman endorses Hillary Clinton literally out of nowhere. After she goes and makes a little backroom deal at her house. Come on. I don't even want that type of endorsement if that's what it is. Somebody, first, can y'all like the video real quick? Like the video, share the video, all that good stuff. We'll go ahead and get started. I hope that we're all good. Looks like everything is running smooth this evening. It must be because nobody else is trying to live stream. All right. We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. We do. We gonna have a good time though. We gonna have a good time. We gonna talk some shit. We gonna talk some shit. We gonna expose some frauds. We gonna do all that good stuff. We gonna hear people complain, Niko, you're too divisive. Nah, I'm sorry, but like, if you came here expecting to hear me pat people on the back and kiss people's ass just because of some views, like, I don't know if y'all have noticed this. I know a lot of y'all new to the channel. Before I get started, we're gonna get started here in like maybe 20 seconds. But I just have to say this. Do y'all know how long I went sacrificing viewership and subscriptions because I refuse? I absolutely refuse to capitulate to the establishment. And that includes the ones who are wearing the progressive labels and doing the wrong thing. When everyone else was scared to call out Bernie, when he was wrong on Syria, when he was wrong on Venezuela, the biggest Bernie Sanders at the time was in my profile picture. Don't give a damn. When I have my journalism hat on, when I wear my hat backwards like this is my journalism hat. When I have my journalism hat on, I gotta call you out when you mess up. I gotta bring the facts and let people determine, how they want to feel about you after that. It's not my responsibility. I can critique people as an ally, right? But that does get to a certain point where you're not an ally anymore. You're just pretending to be one. Now, I don't think that Bernie is not an ally anymore, but once again, I can critique you as an ally, and it's not my job for you to make the right decisions. It's not my job for you to be right on the issues. It is my job, however, as a journalist to hold you accountable, and as a progressive and as an activist to push you left on the issues. If you don't like that, then be correct. Tulsi has gotten that concept down pretty damn good. Ilhan Omar has gotten that concept down pretty damn good. So I don't understand what's so difficult about it. Progressives literally lay out. We give y'all a damn yellow brick road to stay on. Hey, if you want to make sure you keep progressives on your team, just do these things. Medicare for all. Be anti-war. Right? Push for climate change reform. Right? Don't be a centrist. Don't advocate for centrists. Don't be a centrist apologist. Like, I feel like being a progressive is so much easier than being a centrist at this point, because centrists are still trying to navigate in this new progressive world. This country specifically, that has moved so far left, some right in some ways, but so far left that like they have to pretend to be progressive at this point if they want to have any traction whatsoever. So why are we not taking advantage of that? With the progressives, if you're a real progressive, the blueprint is literally right here every single day. Click on a damn YouTube video every now and then. Click on a disobedient media article. Click on it's so easy to be a progressive in 2018 or 2019, excuse me. If you're messing it up, it's because you have some type of ulterior motive or you being led astray. But it's only so often that we can forgive you being led astray whenever at some point your common sense has to kick in my humble opinion. So, Rose Press, keep it up, man. You made me realize how valuable Tulsi is. I appreciate that. Appreciate all that. So, we had a fun show today. Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa, and I am your humble host, Niko House. Have to give a quick shout out real quick. One of my dope supporters sent me some free attire. It's a One Nation artwear. You gotta look at my nice tank top, man. I got some. Y'all know I love my tank tops. I love some tank tops, and they even gave me a dope denim hat. Shout out to Daryl. You can go cop this attire if you want to at 1tn.com. Let me make sure I got the right website. I don't want to steer y'all wrong. Yeah, 1tn.com. So WONET as in Tulsi, N as in Niko.com. As in Tulsi Niko gonna fuck the system up. Yeah. Love the attire there. I just got it in the mail. Funny enough, I was actually planning on wearing the shirt you sent me last time on tonight's live stream. And I ended up wearing this. I got this in the mail at the same time. So I was like, oh, gotta wear the new stuff. So I appreciate it. Much love. We got a fun show tonight. We're gonna be talking about the Daily Beast trying to smear Tulsi Gabbard as a Russian bot thing, I guess. Again, don't really know. It's weird. We'll get to it. We're gonna talk about AOC. We're gonna talk about how AOC basically tried to just smack. She just like, I don't know if she threw I felt like she threw the middle finger up to me personally. Like anybody who's critiqued her for this off-act situation, I feel like she literally threw a middle finger up at us. It's pretty insulting. So we're going to talk about that too. We're also going to talk about a very significant endorsement that Tulsi Gabbard just received today. I mean, it's a real significant endorsement. And then we're going to talk about some stuff with Joe Biden. And we're going to talk about Chelsea Manning's recent arrest as well. Like I said, we got a long, fun show tonight. And we're going to try to have a good time. We're going to try not to get too upset. But, hey, this is me, so probably going to get upset. I'm okay with it. It's cool. Give me a second. Let's go ahead and get to this article. So, give me a second. So, Daily Beast decided to write a hit piece on Tulsi. And this is a good thing, actually. I know it sounds crazy, and I'll explain to you by the end of the article, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing. It says, Tulsi Gabbard's campaign is being boosted by Putin apologists. Well, whatever do they mean by that? It says, the Hawaiian congresswoman is quickly becoming the top candidate for Democrats who think the Russian leader is misunderstood. Wow, this is a really weird. Oh, whenever you see the tandem articles, when two people wrote it, oh, it's always going to be good. You know, and they released this shit at 4:44 a.m. They stayed up all night writing this hot garbage. But let's go ahead and get to it. So, Hawaii Representative Tulsi Gabbard's campaign for the Democratic presidential nomination is being underwritten by some of the nation's leading Russophiles. I don't know if I'm being too judgmental here, but I'm almost positive that shit is bigoted. Like, how do you start off the article? You didn't even get halfway through the article before you said some shit. Like, once again, if we replace this with Jewish sympathizers, with black lovers, if we replace this with those some Syrian files or Muslim files, we would all be up in arms right now. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm being too judgmental, but I feel like when you start off the article with Russophiles, you're not doing yourself any favor. Like I said, if you are ever in a conversation, maybe you do believe in the Russiagate nonsense. I hope you don't, but if you do, if you ever find yourself in the middle of a conversation debating whether or not Russiagate is real or not real, if you replace Russian with black, Jew, or Muslim, and it sounds a little bit racist, or a little bit Islamophobic, or a little bit bigoted, you might need to rethink your logic. You might have just been led into some bigoted BS by the mainstream, because the mainstream loves being bigoted whenever it benefits them. So, we got a super chat. Rebel Scum. We need Tulsi to get 100,000 donors, or they will move the goalposts. 100% agree. Go to Tulsi2020.com. Go donate right now if you have not. A dollar will help. $1. If you have not donated to her, go do so. Let's continue with the article. Donors to her campaign in the first quarter of the year included Stephen F. Cohen, a Russian studies professor at New York, a Russian studies professor, oh my God, and prominent Kremlin sympathizer. Sharon Tennyson, a vocal Putin supporter who nonetheless found herself detained by Russian authorities in 2016. I don't think that doesn't make any sense. Hold on, So they're going to start out the gate, right? Out the gate, they start off with a bigoted attack on Russia and anybody who is Russian or has a Russian last name. And then in the very next paragraph, make the biggest contradiction. She's a prominent Kremlin sympathizer, Sharon Tennyson, and a vocal, quote unquote, Putin supporter who found herself detained by Russian authorities in 2016 and is also an employee of the Kremlin-backed broadcaster RT, who appears to have donated under the alias Goofy Grapes. Now, there was a whole lot of wrong with that. Whole lot of wrong. A vocal Putin supporter who was arrested by the Russian authorities, but is also an employee by the Kremlin-backed RT. Oh man, look, I'm kind of confused. I ain't gonna lie. Oh my God, this is so pathetic. Oh man, this is the Daily Beast though. Why are we not surprised? So basically, because Stephen Cohen is a professor for Russian studies, do you hear the McCarthyism in this? This is exactly how articles were written in the 1970s and the 1980s. This is sad. This wouldn't even, if you tried to like use this article in a debate, because y'all know I used to debate in college and in high school. If I tried to use this article in the debate, they would laugh me out of the room. I would be told to sit down, and I might even be kicked out of the tournament because this is utterly ridiculous. The article goes on to say that Gabbard is one of the party's more Russian-friendly voices in an era of deep democratic suspicion of the country over its efforts to tip the 2016 election in favor of Donald Trump. By Russian-friendly people, she just says things like, hey, can we not escalate tensions with Russia, the second strongest superpower in the world, so we don't end up in a nuclear holocaust? Yeah, I guess that's Russian-friendly. I don't know if they actually know what Russian-friendly means, because I think I can speak for everyone. I think I can speak for everyone when I say I'm almost done paying off my car. My nephew and my niece are only 5 years old. You know, my show's just now taking off. You know, my friends are doing pretty well. Just graduated college. In other words, all that cool stuff is happening in my life right now, and I don't want to be destroyed by a goddamn nuclear weapon. I don't want to be living in a nuclear holocaust. I like air conditioner and not dying. Like, those are two things that I've grown pretty fond of in my 30 years of living, and I don't want it to be sabotaged and thrown down a drain because the Democratic Party are sore losers and they don't want to hold themselves accountable for their miserable loss to what was supposed to be the worst candidate in presidential history, until Hillary Clinton said, hey, Donald Trump, hold my beer. Got something for that ass. You think you're the worst candidate in history? Okay. Yeah, that's what happened. But they don't want to admit that horrible L, and that Hillary Clinton blew through $900 million, and that they absolutely picked the wrong candidate, which led to not only Hillary Clinton losing, but the House of Representatives losing their power and the Senate losing their power. Why? Because the entire country watched the Democratic Party cheat in 2016, and they were like, to hell with this. We're not coming out. Period, point blank. 20 million people left the Democratic Party, and those are the people who just switched the registration. Not even the people who didn't switch the registration because they live in primary states and they don't want to be excluded from participating in, or they lived in closed primary states and they don't want to be excluded from participating in closed primary elections. So let's keep it all the way real. It had nothing to do with Russia. Stop the lies. Stop it. It's old. It's tired. It's done. But hey, it's the Daily Beast, so what can we say? This is like the number one publication for Russia, or for anti-Russian propaganda and anti-progressive propaganda, right? These are the same people who try to write an article saying that because Jill Stein sat beside Putin, was in the same room as Putin, therefore she is a Russian sympathizer. They didn't write an article about Jill Stein, however, getting mandatory paper ballots for Pennsylvania because they found out that Hillary Clinton had cheated and they were unable to verify the votes, and she won in a court. You remember all that money that they said she was stealing and wasting? Yeah, she's the reason that Pennsylvania has to use paper ballots now. Yeah, but they didn't write an article about that. Just saying. Let's continue. Her financial support from the prominent pro-Russian voices. Pro-Russian voices. Just because you teach Russian studies, that means you're pro-Russian, by the way. If you work at RT, because everybody know all Lee Camp from Redacted Tonight, all he talks about is how much he loves Russia. And all Jesse Ventura talked about was how much he loved Russia. And Ed Schultz, God rest his beautiful, beautiful soul, all he talked about was how much he loved Russia. If I go back to clips, I'm pretty sure the only time that Lee mentions Russia is when he's like, the Russiagate scandal is bullshit. It's pretty much the only time. But hey, if you work at RT and if you teach Russian studies, then you're Kremlin Putin kiss ass. That's what the Daily Beast is saying. Sure, I'm sure that once again, if we replace Russian with black or Muslim or Jewish, that doesn't sound racist, bigoted, or Islamophobic at all. I'm sure if we that, yeah, whatever. It says that her financial support from prominent pro-Russian voices in the U.S. is a small portion of the total she's raised, but it still illustrates the degree to which she deviates from her party's mainstream on such a contentious, high-profile issue. Hold up. So y'all gonna tell me that y'all whole plea for right now, your whole plea to try and sabotage Tulsi and smear her is she isn't representing the mainstream voices of the unpopular party in the country right now, when 40% of the country is independent, when the half of the Democratic Party doesn't even like itself, with 35 of them primary states in which it doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican, or open or semi-open, or it doesn't even matter if you're Democrat or Republican. Your whole argument is to say that Tulsi is not a viable candidate because she deviates from the mainstream narrative of the party that had to do a unity tour because they were so unpopular. That is your grand master plan. Wow. It's almost as if the people in the Daily Beast have not been paying attention at all, because this is getting ridiculous. Honestly, let's be real. So they go on to say the data on Tulsi Gabbard's financial supporters only covers the first 3 months in the year, like everybody else's. In that time, her campaign received just over 1,000 from Cohen, arguably the nation's leading intellectual apologist for Russian President Vladimir Putin. Hey, out of curiosity, are y'all want to see? Just let's just for shits and giggles, let's see what their example is, because they refused to provide that they refused to provide that example in the article. So let's just see what they use to justify such a, I mean, that's a bold claim. Oh, what a surprise! You click on the link and it's another Daily Beast article from 2015. And they don't mention Stephen Cohen's name until, let's see when they mention his name. Okay, they said he's one of the leading apologists for Putin. They don't mention his name until 3/4 of the way through the article, and they only mention his name twice. Hold on, I'm gonna see what they mention. Stephen Cohen, and this is, look, and you know what their logic is? They say that in this article in 2015, Stephen Cohen is America's most notorious Kremlin apologist, falsely labeling the conflict in the Ukraine a civil war. Hey, y'all know what's so funny about that? If they would have waited, maybe, what date was this? This was March. If they would have waited a few months, they would have found out via the New York Times in the same year that it was a Ukrainian civil war, and the Clintons helped to fund it in order to further push the prospect of the Iranian One deal. They actually made deals with the Ukrainian oligarchs, gave them propaganda, and it turned out that Stephen Cohen was correct. So their justification for writing that Stephen Cohen is the biggest Kremlin apologist is their own article with the claim that Stephen Cohen is the biggest Kremlin apologist. So I am confused. You know how silly that sounds? Who the fuck would want to be a member of Daily Beast? If you don't get off my damn screen. That's like me saying, hey, y'all know I'm the best YouTuber out there. Well, how do you know that, Niko? Well, I just watched a video of myself saying I'm the best YouTuber out there. Bruh, y'all gonna look at me like I'm out of my damn mind. I'm like, this dude's crazy. Yeah, you should. You absolutely should. Because that's ridiculous. their only claim, or their only substantiation, their only fact claiming that they mentioned Stephen Cohen's name and say he's a Putin apologist multiple times in this article, and their only claim, or the only link to that claim, is another Daily Beast article from 2015 when they mentioned his name twice. And it's with a conflict in the Ukraine that we actually started. And it turned out that he was correct about that conflict in the Ukraine, justified by the New York Times when they did that huge expose on the Uranium One deal, where it started and how we got there. That's their only claim, but okay. And because he donated $1,000 to Tulsi, therefore, Tulsi is now guilty by association in a situation where she wouldn't even be guilty by association, because it seems like this guy just does his research, if anything. But okay. It says Tennyson donated to Tulsi Gabbard no fewer than 5 times, eventually reaching the per cycle individual contribution limit in mid-March. Tennyson and her group, the Center for Citizens Initiatives, man, that sounds like a very nefarious group, have long worked to improve U.S.-Russian relations. God forbid we work to improve U.S.-Russian relations considering they have nuclear weapons and we don't get along. Oh my God. I'm almost confused. What exactly do they want to happen? Cause I'm like, just out of curiosity. So you all know that if we go to war with Russia, like, that's the end of the world, right? I think that we all can agree on that. And as a person who was in the military, I'm not sure we can beat the Russian military. The Russian Spetsnaz, their special forces, are on some shit. Them boys is on something, okay? They are an effective, and our special forces is dope. Our Delta Force is dope. But listen, y'all. They don't outsource to China for their shit. I'm gonna put it like that. We can't even take care of our soldiers right now. We have Navy planes, Navy jets that are being repaired because the damn pilots, their head was exploding due to the pressure. In other words, it was called quote unquote popping, because that's what would happen whenever the jets reach a certain velocity and a certain height. Like, we can't even get that right for basic trial runs. And y'all think we can go to war with Russia? Who gonna go to war? I'm not going to war with Russia. Y'all kidding my ass. I'm not going to war with Russia. Mm-mm. But even still, that's an assumption that there would be a war, because it may just end in a nuclear winter. So we're not okay. You don't want to go to war. We don't want nuclear winter. At least that's what I thought. So when Tulsi and Tennyson say, hey, can we try to better relations with Russia? Can we try to do that instead so we don't all die? Apparently that's too problematic. The Daily Beast has a problem with this. Because if you try to better relations with Russia, then we won't die in a nuclear holocaust. And what will Daily Beast have to write about in order to blame Donald Trump? That's basically where we're at right now. This is ridiculous. It's nuclear holocaust or Putin sympathizer, and there is nothing at all in between. That's just amazing. All right. So, she said she's also been an outspoken Putin supporter, dubbing him a straightforward, reliable, and exceptionally inventive man. Okay. Gabbard also got 1,000 from Goofy Grapes, who listed his or her occupation as comedian and employer as redacted tonight. A current events comedy show. Shout out to Lee Camp. You made the Daily Beast article. I don't know if you're watching right now, but shout out to Lee. That's my dog. Y'all know I love Lee. He made it. So basically, because someone, I don't know if you've ever seen Redacted Tonight. I'm sure a lot of you have. They're basically saying because somebody worked for Lee Camp's show that they're a Russian sympathizer. Do y'all hear how ridiculous this is getting bad? This is like an onion piece. Does this not read like an onion piece? Does this not read like satire to everybody else? Because it reads like satire to me. They go on to say, Camp, for his part, routinely promotes the Russian government line on major world. Oh, Lee! Somebody tag Lee on Twitter, please. Tag him in my video on Twitter. Oh my God. Leak for him. He routinely promotes the Russian government line on major world affairs, most notably the invasion of Ukraine, political unrest in Syria or in Venezuela, and the Syrian civil war. Hold up. You mean Lee doesn't want to go to war with Venezuela? Doesn't want to initiate a regime change in Syria? and doesn't support U.S. oligarchy in Ukraine? So therefore, he's calling the Russians? What the fuck? Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't get to the rest. I can't get to the rest of the article. This is fucking ridiculous. I can't even get to the rest. This is journal. Somebody somewhere got paid to write this. Oh my God. Oh, bruh. Even Lee Camp now is being smeared by the Daily Beast. Gabbard has also been one of the few prominent Democrats in the country to downplay the findings of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation. Downplay him? She said, she quoted the investigation. Okay, there was no collusion. Can we move on? That's downplaying it? Is that not verbatim what the motherfucker... There was no evidence of collusion. Now quoting the Mueller report is Russian propaganda. Quoting Mueller's words on the piece of paper that he put out. I'm done with this. I can't even get through the article, y'all. I'm just, oh, jeez. Oh, man, I got important shit to cover. Let's go on to the next topic. Y'all, hey, listen. Daily Beast, I appreciate it, though, because The Onion has been slacking lately. They haven't written a lot of funny pieces about modern political events, or contemporary political events. So I'm really happy. I really am. That you all have provided us with this gem of satirical articles. This is like a top tier satirical article. Not even joking. This is hilarious. Even for the Daily Beast, this is hilarious. Honestly, Lee Camp might quote this when he does his show next week because it's that funny. I'm sure he's looking for some material for next week, so I'm gonna send this over his way and I'm gonna laugh, and we're gonna get a good hearty laugh out of this. So, for the next topic, holy shit, that was too much. Okay, y'all. Sorry, that was hilarious. All right, so, and on a more serious note, AOC has apparently applied for the new job in the Democratic Party of testing my patience. And she is in line to get that job because I feel like there are a lot of people who have harshly critiqued AOC. There are a lot of people. I've not been that harsh of a critique of her. My most harsh critique of her was this week. Anytime I've critiqued her as an ally. I've critiqued her in a legitimate way, and I've critiqued her using the facts. The fact is, she's been weak on any type of anti-war issue. She's been weak. She was silent on the Ilhan Omar issue. The only time that she decided to chime in on the Ilhan Omar issue was when Donald Trump commented on it, and then she tried to use that to boost her profile. So basically, it looks like the only time she wants to chime in is when she can get a bunch of retweets and likes from it. And then when she finally did comment on the Ilhan Omar issue, she took it totally out of context. Like was she already apologized for it, Trump? Okay, but that's not really the issue. She didn't say anything anti-Semitic at all. And this is supposed to be your homie. And if you're not loyal to your homie, I'm already skeptical about how loyal you're going to be to a movement that is, kind of abstract, right? It's not like you can put a face on it. You're not directly connected to it. And if you sitting next to Ilhan Omar and you are that comfortable with basically throwing her under the bus, then I already have a few issues with who you may be as a person. And even though I do think that she's still an ally, and I can't even say for the most part at this point because I'm not even sure of that anymore. It's becoming blatantly obvious. Her ego supersedes her progressivism. 100%. Point blank period. And unfortunately, the more I've been talking to organizers who work directly for her in New York, the more I'm starting to find out that this may very well be true. And it's sad and it's unfortunate because I think that a lot of people, they find hope in what AOC is and they find hope in what she has become. But at the end of the day, boy, you can't say nothing slick to a can of oil. I know how the game is played, AOC. I've been there. I've done that. I know how the game is played. And I know what game you're playing. But this, what I'm about to show you all, is the biggest slap in the face to not only Tulsi Gabbard, but to progressives everywhere, to climate change activists everywhere, to environmentalists everywhere, to the 400 environmental and climate change organizations that endorsed Tulsi Gabbard's Off Act. To progressives everywhere. It is. And let me explain to y'all what I mean. We're about to get it popping. All right, let's go ahead and man, sorry. This is just Can I get some water first, y'all? I'm gonna drink some water real quick. So, Mike Levin decided to introduce the Zero Emissions Vehicle Act with Jeff Merkley, and it's quote unquote an important step to combat climate change. Now we're not going to get. I want to get into the legislation. I'm going to read the article, but let's just say that this was the best version of this legislation that there could possibly be, right? Let's just say that Mike Levin isn't on the board. What if Fiorella actually commented on this? Shout out to Fiorella. Go follow her on Twitter, Fiorella_IM. Obviously, I know her because she's from the Combo Couch. I saw some of y'all comments. Y'all nasty. You need to keep your comments to yourself. Y'all need to be appropriate. Some of your kids watch our show. They want to see your comments. Anyway, she says, fact. You might not be aware, Congresswoman, but as an AOC fan and a supporter from California, I have to tell you that Levin is not one to praise. Well, why is that, Fiorella? Please educate us. I would love to know why. She says he's known to be a fracking lobbyist. He spent his career doing work for the fossil fuel industry. I'd like to hope he's coming around, but Fee has some more things to talk to us about. On October 27th, right before the presidential election, ExxonMobil and FuelCell revealed the location of their pilot carbon program and received $15 million from the Department of Energy. Oh, and FuelCell's VP was a featured speaker at the National Coal Council's annual spring meeting. Well, hot damn Bojangle, Fee. Is there some more stuff that we should figure out? I feel like there might be some more things to this. Let's look at what Fee has to say. I feel like Fee has some more stuff to say. Oh, Fee upset. Fee upset. I told y'all, this is why we leave the interviews to Craig, because me and Fee, we just ain't really got time for the bullshit. So Fee's upset. She says, but we also need the Off Act. We need to work together to build real solutions. And fracking, or clean coal, isn't one of them. All of this can be found on the internet if you do research. Ooh, Fee, you're getting a little feisty there. Calm down, girl. Ask most Californian progressives, we will tell you the truth. In May of 2016, ExxonMobil took interest in FuelCell, and the two companies agreed to collaborate on carbon capture and clean coal development. Donald Trump benefited from this because he spews clean coal as a way to revive the coal industry and bring back American jobs. I'm not here to criticize AOC, but as someone who supported Doug Applegate against Levine, and as an organizer and a grassroots activist, in Los Angeles. I don't like to see fake environmentalists praise, especially when we have zero time for it. Our planet is dying. We need a Green New Deal. By the way, unfortunately, most Congress people who won from OC, which is Orange County, who Nancy Pelosi, of course, supported, were Republicans turned Democrats because of the district, but they were definitely not progressives. California is a tough state, but we have a strong movement that will not stay silent when lies abound. One last thing. Oh, I already talked about it. Oh, no, actually, one last thing. This bill is decent, but we need something more radical because, as most of you know, we have 10 years. We are now attempting to curtail the inevitable. The only way to independency on coal and save our planet is to stop giving money to lobbyists and big oil. On October the 20th, hold on. Hold on. Where we at? Oh yeah, here we go. This is the juice. This is the tea right here. Fiorella, listen, y'all. This is the reason I brought her onto the network. For those of you who don't know, one of the requirements to actually have even been considered for the network is to have been an activist. Or you have to be an activist or an organizer just to be in competition. So even the two, we have one of our people coming back. And just really quick, I'll bring my face up. We have one of our people coming back, Niko Dagmon. He was actually just doing some activism work in Tallahassee, Florida. He took a break because he didn't want to fail college to support the movement, and I strongly supported that. And he's an activist as well and an organizer. So like one of the reason that you see a heightened level of education from Fee, from Craig, anybody who's familiar with Niko's work in the past, you'll notice that it seems to be very, very specific. Things that most people would not know, but that's because these people are active in their communities doing the work necessary for us not to have to rely on federal elections for us to see change at the local levels. People, and I encourage you all, of course, to do the same. And if you want to take someone's advice on an issue, maybe you should ask yourself, well, is this person giving me, why are they trying to be an authority on who I should and should not be voting for? Unless they've been in the trenches talking to people, figuring out what's going on in their local communities, going to these national level events. Y'all know that we're going to the Democratic National Convention in California, for example, as activists and as journalists. Me, activist first. I'm acting a fool. Craig will probably be the reporter getting all the interviews because I don't want to get kicked out too early. But that's why Fee is so fantastic. And that's why Pasta is so fantastic. Because they're activists first. They're activists by nature. And they were just so passionate about the issues that they felt like they had to speak about them. So that's why she's so knowledgeable on this stuff. So the last thing that I want to talk about that Fee says. Levin has spent his career directing, lobbying for grants, financing favorable legislation on behalf of companies that specialize in development of fossil fuel-based technologies, i.e. natural gas, microturbines, hydrogen fuel cells, carbon, and clean coal. And I can't find her tweet. But basically, I want to say it's for fuel. Hold on. She said she had another tweet up here where basically she was talking about the fact that Mike Levin used to work for Fuel Cell. Is that what they're called, right? Fuel Cell? Yeah. They used to work for Fuel Cell. He's like the director of government affairs or something like that. Still. And they use fracking to supply the cells. Interesting. But maybe am I being misleading again? So let's look at the tweet. Who is she complimenting? Who is she boosting up in this tweet? Well, Bernie Sanders' name is in there. That's good. I'm glad that he Bernie is signing on to this legislation because it is a step in the right direction, I guess. Oh, man. Kamala Harris, Kirsten Gillibrand. Really? So you don't mind boosting up this legislation that 3 presidential candidates are a part of? 3 presidential candidates are a part of that legislation. And all of a sudden, she's cool. She's cool with boosting them. But, you know what's a little frustrating? What's a little bit more frustrating than any of this? Than like, so Mike Levin, maybe she didn't know, right? Maybe she didn't know that Mike Levin was a an anti-climate change lobbyist. That's why I call those guys the fossil fuel lobbyists. Anti-climate change lobbyist for his entire career. This is actually a key issue while he was running for office. Fiorella and Craig told me before we got on here. But it gets worse. The tweet itself. Fun fact. The Green New Deal is a resolution, aka an overarching policy framework, not a bill. So if you're curious about what the world would be like with the Green New Deal, might look like Mike Levin's zero emissions vehicle bill as a great example. Excuse me. Excuse. Hold up. What the fuck? Hold up, y'all. And I hope I didn't miss any super chats, y'all. If I missed some super chats, I apologize. Oh man, did I make it? Okay, I didn't miss any. Okay, sorry. Just want to make sure. No, I'm good. Okay, I ain't miss any. Just want to make sure I got everybody. Because before I'm about to go in. This woman said, fun fact, the Green New Deal is not a resolution, aka y'all, how many I've done pretty extensive videos covering the OFF Act. I specifically did a video where I said the Green New Deal is in fact not a bill. It is by definition a resolution, and therefore it is by definition incomplete. Even for a resolution, it is incomplete. But I said, let's even give her that she did her best, right? It is by definition a resolution. So there should be no conflict of interest while working in tandem with Tulsi Gabbard's OFF Act. I said this, right? How many times have I said this? How many times have I said this? How many people call me a troll? Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Because I said this. I said this Green New Deal is a resolution, aka overarching policy framework. It is a step towards that direction, but it is by definition not a bill. Therefore, by definition, is not actionable. It is not a detailed policy. So there should be no problem working with Tulsi on the OFF Act. I said this, correct? I'm pretty sure I did. Okay. But whenever I said, so therefore AOC should have zero problem pushing the OFF Act, there should have been no pushback, because now I'm not the one telling you the resolution is an overarching policy framework and not a bill. AOC is telling you it's a resolution. It's a resolution and not a bill. It's a resolution and not a bill. And yet, she campaigned on the OFF Act. She campaigned on the OFF Act. She campaigned on the OFF Act. Hasn't mentioned it once. Hasn't mentioned it once since talking about the Green New Deal. Traveling around the country and hasn't mentioned it once. Walking around with Bernie, hasn't mentioned it once. Hasn't called Tulsi's phone, hasn't tagged Tulsi in a tweet, hasn't sent Tulsi an email. But you got the nerve to boost legislation that includes not one, not two, but 3 presidential candidates, a fracking lobbyist. Really? And it's, oh, we're going to get cars off of gas by 2040. How fucking, oh my gosh, how aggressive of you. By 2040? We could have electric cars right now. And this clearly, in my opinion, looks like the fuel cells, at least according to Fiorella, which she always does her research, and I'm going to take her word for it. The fuel cells, if what Fee says is true, require fracking to be a thing still. In other words, fracking would probably increase exponentially under this legislation. Do you understand this? Because if Mike Levin, Kamala Harris, and Gillibrand are allowed to push legislation such as this, if it gets passed, and she tweeted this out to help galvanize people behind this bullshit piece of legislation, I'm going to be heated. Because that means the Republicans need to pass it. And if the Republicans are teaming up with Kamala, Kirsten Gillibrand, and Mike Levin, and they're all allowed to pass this legislation, that means AOC played us for fools once again while pretending that the most actionable, the most aggressive, and the most comprehensive climate change legislation, which includes this particular effort to get cars off of fossil fuels, the motherfucker, god damn it, Off Fossil Fuels Act. Off Fossil Fuels Act. Literally, the name of the legislation is supposedly what this shit, but zero emissions. No, I know how the game goes. There's a reason they say zero emissions, not zero fossil fuels, not zero oil, not zero fracking. Zero emissions. But I'm an asshole. But I'm divisive. You gon', oh my God. Whew, Jesus. Sweet baby Jesus. Calm me down. Calm me down. Okay, we good. Y'all. Why would she be promoting legislation that these companies who donate dollars to the likes of Kamala and Gillibrand, and especially Levin, we know for a fact that is going to be Trojan horse legislation. We know for a fact that people, senators, legislators like these will name legislation one thing, and we know it does more harm than good. It does not actually achieve the goal that it is supposedly claiming to achieve in the title. What's crazy to me is, like, I've been saying, literally, people, whoever's in the comment section, please vouch. How long have I been saying, well, if the Green New Deal is what it's supposed to be, which is just a resolution, why aren't you talking about the OFF Act? That's one of the ways to make sure that the Green New Deal gets done and it makes you look good, actually. You are in the House of Representatives with Tulsi. You know the OFF Act exists. You know it's about to be reintroduced. You knew it was introduced before. You campaigned on it. And all of a sudden, we're promoting legislation from Kamala Harris and Kirsten Gillibrand. We're promoting legislation from Kamala Harris and Kirsten Gillibrand. Manny, will Tulsi reintroduce the OFF Act soon? Yes. She's supposed to be doing it soon, actually. That's where her policy advisor told me that it should be towards the end of this month that she should be introducing it. My understanding is because she's basically going to be on the West Coast for the majority of this month, that she just wouldn't have the time, because she's going to be at the California Democratic Convention, because obviously California's in the first Super Tuesday now, so it's imperative that she does well there. for everybody's sake. Mr. Broken Ass, because she is a tool, controlled opposition. You know what's sad? It's beginning to look like that. And it's sad that there are people who think that this is bashing. Is this bashing AOC? Have I said one lie? Have I said one non-factual statement? Is it a resolution? Has she talked about the OFF Act? Has the OFF Act been endorsed by over 400 environmentalists and climate change legislators? How many organizations. How many climate change and environmental organizations do you think endorse this Zero Emissions Vehicle Act? How many? I haven't maligned her character. I haven't insulted her appearance. I haven't said anything that is not factually true. But if you want to know my opinion, if you want me to deviate from fact a little bit, I'm going to tell you my opinion. It's clear that AOC is more concerned about being president one day. And she sees Tulsi Gabbard as an immediate threat. Not only that, she sees Tulsi Gabbard because AOC is an icon in brand and name only. Hasn't done a damn thing. The Green New Deal is cute. It's cute. That's what it is. When you want to compare the Green New Deal to the OFF Act, the Green New Deal is cute. But the truth of the matter is, the Green New Deal doesn't talk about nuclear. It doesn't talk about fracking. It talks about cutting emissions, not getting off of fossil fuels. It doesn't talk about nuclear waste either. Thanks for the super chat, Big Irv. Damn, I didn't get a notification about this video. Oh, wow, that's surprising. A lot of people did get notifications this time. If you are concerned about my opinion, that is my opinion. Now, my opinion is, I believe at this point, over the last year, has been more than substantiated by facts. You left Ilhan Omar out to hang because there was not a Democratic consensus on whether or not they should call her anti-Semitic, because it was opposite. They actually were calling her. They were piling on with the Republicans, so you couldn't say anything. They have been literally smearing Tulsi with lies, with Hindu-phobic rhetoric. The same way they were using Islamophobic tropes and dog whistles on Ilhan. And you were silent because there wasn't a Democratic consensus. I'm still looking for that Venezuela tweet. We've been looking for a Venezuela tweet for 5 months now. But she's silent. Why? Because there's not a Democratic Party consensus. What about Syria? Oh, nope, she's silent on that too. Why? Because there's not a Democratic Party consensus. What about Iran? Waiting for that groundbreaking tweet. Silent on that too. Why? Because there's not a Democratic Party consensus. Do you know what's sad, y'all? And I'm covering this tomorrow. But do y'all know that Trump came out today and said he does not want to go to war with Iran, that he is actually against his advisors when it comes? So you're telling me that Trump can be more bold on being anti-regime change in Iran than AOC can? Oh, did not know that's where we're at right now. Did not know it has gotten that far. But Lord knows, if I go through AOC's tweets, it's a bunch of her patting her goddamn self on the back at this point. Look at this. AOC nails it here. Is retweeting her own speech about the Green New Deal on C-SPAN. What angers me about the GOP's attempt to turn the United States into a far-right Christian theocracy is how dishonest they are about it. What angers me about your attempt to pretend like you give a shit about climate change with this Green New Deal is how dishonest you are about it. Because if you were honest, I shouldn't even have had to tell you to push for the OFF Act. You can't pretend like it wasn't in headlines because she made an announcement about it, like it's already in the works. It's already been. We not even going. GOP tweet, anti-GOP tweet, and then retweeting herself again about how cool. She's wagging her finger. People's lives are not commodities, and healthcare, including medicine, is a human right. Yeah, we know. Okay, that's all good. And then she retweets herself again, or retweets a speech from herself again. Then she retweets something about herself from Vox. Then she retweets something about herself from Now This. Then she retweets Katie Hill for CA. Katie Hill endorsed Kamala Harris on the first day she announced. So we're promoting neoliberals now too, because they're a Democrat. She said she's about to unknown space pioneer. I'm about to join DSA because of her, and I feel the DSA should disown her. Actually, the DSA and her are apparently at odds. Critiquing the the Republicans again about abortions. AOC made a great point. We're tweeting something about herself from Now This. We're tweeting something about herself from C-SPAN. We're tweeting something about herself from Public Citizens. We're tweeting something about herself from Justice Democrats. We're tweeting, bruh. All you do is boost your own profile and talk shit about Republicans like we don't know they suck. Are you kidding me? And the only time that you dare to go out on a limb and retweet something not about you is because somebody is supporting something that you're doing. Do we not find anything wrong with that? That's not problematic to anybody? Does that make me a hater? You want to go to her Twitter and find out yourself? I don't get it. Has America become so sycophantic that we can't separate facts from personality? Is that where we're at right now? Because I've seen Ilhan Omar at the height of her popularity go out on a limb and doing what no other congressperson or senator would do. Say fuck Israel and all the money that they spend on our politics. Didn't give a damn what it meant for her personal career. Didn't give a damn about what it meant for her brand. And she had her life threatened. She was attacked by both parties. She had her life threatened and basically had a hit put out on her by Donald Trump trying to connect her to 9/11. Are you kidding me? And you can't even speak against regime change in Venezuela as fervently and consistently. Because, yeah, I saw on the 10th after you said one thing on the 6th, you're going to defer to the party leaders, the caucus leaders. And then you said, well, I'm against interventionism. And you threw some buzzwords out there. You threw like Elliot Abrams and, Elliot Abrams, who you're only aware of because Ilhan Omar was bold enough to speak out against regime change war in Venezuela because of Elliot Abrams' history of regime change in South America. And so you throw some buzzwords out there, but will she go to Twitter to talk about being anti-regime change? No, she won't. Why? Because if you've noticed, when it comes to regime change, when it comes to Israel and Palestine, when it comes to any controversial issue that there isn't a democratic consensus over, her answer changes depending on what crowd she's in front of. And it's getting pathetic. We don't have time for the tippy-tappies. We don't got time for it. Either you want to be a bold progressive or you're a neoliberal. And there's no in between. I'm not saying you can't get things wrong. See, that's the thing. I don't agree with everything that Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib have said. Like, I don't agree with Rashida Tlaib trying to impeach Trump. I don't agree with it because I think that Pence is far worse. I think that is a waste of time. But guess what? I believe that Rashida Tlaib is being genuine because she was clear about what she wanted to do from the very beginning. From the moment she got elected, she said, because of Trump's violation of the emolument clause, I believe that he should be impeached. That has been her goal. And she has dedicated her career to exposing, and I'm okay with exposing the money within politics. Like, I don't really care about that. I don't think it's a good idea to impeach him. I think it's a waste of time. But I know she's being genuine because on every other issue, she's been fervently and consistently anti-regime change. Fervently and consistently against the mainstream. She has not been boosting Nancy Pelosi. She has not been boosting Kamala Harris. She has not been boosting Zach Levine. With Ilhan Omar, I don't agree with her. Sometimes she kind of teeters that line on that Russiagate nonsense, but I believe she's being genuine. I don't think she's right, but I don't believe she's being politically calculating. With AOC, we have no idea where she's going to fall on a particular issue. Why do I don't have to hunt for where you stand on the Green New Deal. I don't have to hunt for you wagging your finger at Big Pharma. Okay, Big Pharma's bad. We know. Anything else? I don't have to hunt for that, but I have to hunt for where you stand on Venezuela. I have to hunt for where you stand on Syria. I have to hunt for where you stand on Iran. I have to hunt for where you stand on anti-interventionism to begin with. After that Ilhan Omar nonsense, I don't know where you stand on Israel and Palestine. You switched your rhetoric on Israel and Palestine in day one. And we've made excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. Well, she's 29. Well, she just started. Well, she may not be as educated. Well, maybe she doesn't know about the OFF Act. Oh, so you don't know about the OFF Act happening in the House of Representatives, but you know about this damn legislation happening in the Senate? By Kamala Harris, Zach Levin, and Kirsten fucking Gillibrand. I don't know if people understand how these things work. I don't think that people get this. If you know your history, there's a reason the establishment was okay with FDR and not okay with Henry Wallace. See, FDR was fantastic on domestic policy. Everybody likes to call themselves or refer to them. I'm an FDR Democrat. I want my domestic policy to mimic and mirror FDR. And that is great. But you know the part that people keep forgetting to discuss is how FDR, during that time frame, was basically tricked into going into World War II. How FDR didn't put up a fight for Henry Wallace when he was cheated out of the VP nomination in his very last election. Because in that regard, FDR was a pushover. He didn't want to stand up to his party. Why? FDR is the most popular president in history up to that point, next to Abraham Lincoln, literally. That was the only person that has been as popular as FDR. So I don't want to have controversy within the party. Do you know why they were okay with FDR and not Henry Wallace, a card-carrying socialist? Because Henry Wallace was calling for Great Britain to decolonize Africa. He was calling for the end of the apartheid in South Africa. He was calling for desegregation in America. He was calling out regime change in South America. He was calling out the Nazi subsidiaries that were based off of corporations in America. Ford, GM, GNC, GE. Sean Brock, do y'all think that Hillary would be more ready to go into Iran than Trump is? I do in Venezuela. 100%. 100%. All the mobilizations for Venezuela, by the way, like we started getting ready to go into Venezuela while Hillary was still Secretary of State. Like that was her. She reopened the base in Trinidad. Well, literally not her. Like she didn't go and turn a key, but she set things in motion for her to go into, for us to go into Venezuela. But they're okay with domestic policy hawks. Because, yeah, we'll give you all Medicare for all, but guess what your sons and daughters are going to be fighting at? Do you not see the buildup to World War III happening right in front of our eyes? Do you all understand how the Cold War happened? See, FDR was smart enough to know Stalin and Russia took the brunt of the bruises from World War II. And it largely happened because the United States was stagnant, right? We knew the Holocaust was happening. We turned them away. We turned Jewish people away during the Holocaust. And then we finally got involved because of Pearl Harbor. But Pearl Harbor was economics. It was a trade war and an oil war between us and Japan. That's why Pearl Harbor happened. So then we finally get in, and then when we finally do get in, years later, hundreds of thousands of dead Jews way too late, when we finally do get in, you know what we spend our time doing? We spend our time defending Great Britain's colonies in Africa. What? And then, guess who comes next? Truman. Yeah, Truman. Truman, Mr. What are you talking about? There was no Yalta Conference agreement. And Winston Churchill, the racist, bigoted warmonger, lied to Truman and said there was never a Yalta Conference agreement that would have given the Eastern Bloc to Russia, because at the end of the day, they spent half of their damn country's lives defending it. So we end up in the Cold War, which launched Afghanistan conflicts, Iranian conflicts, Vietnam conflicts, the Korean conflicts, Cambodia, Laos, Iraq, where they lie and say the Cold War ended without a bullet ever being fired. What? Because Truman was an idiot. But do y'all know how World War I started? Once again, we claimed that the Lusitania had been bombed and that there were people on board. And they were just innocent tourists, and it turned out to be a lie. Why? Because Woodrow Wilson, pretty good on domestic policy, was trash. He was an idiot, and he was easily manipulated on foreign policy. He trusted in those intelligence agencies that have been proven to be so reliable, right? Do you know why we went to war with Germany? Because they were Great Britain's greatest economic threat. Do you understand? If we did not side with Cecil Rhodes, Rothschild, and all the other oligarchs between Great Britain and the United States that had been formulating and creating World War I, the path to World War I for almost 15 or 20 years by demonizing Germany, do you understand that the Holocaust never happens? Thanks for the super chat, Ruben. Do you understand the Holocaust never happens? The Holocaust happened because Hitler was able to weaponize the Jewish identity of Rothschild and connect all the unnecessary and undue pain and suffering of the German people to Rothschild, who was indeed responsible for World War I, at least for a good majority of it. He helped bankroll the Woodrow Wilson campaign, he helped bankroll the Woodrow Wilson campaign, but he also, him and J.P. Morgan, helped bankroll the Bull Moose Party for Teddy Roosevelt to split the Republican vote to ensure that Woodrow Wilson stays in power, because Woodrow Wilson was an idiot. Are you starting to get the point? If you were not bold and aggressive on being anti-regime change, Medicare for all doesn't matter when your son and daughter is dying in an unnecessary war and when lives are being lost overseas. You can't remember that spiel she gave on CNN? Well, how do we pay for the military-industrial complex? Something she hasn't talked about much. Isn't that interesting? All of a sudden, that isn't important anymore when we're talking about spending for Medicare for all. You want Medicare for all, but you won't combat the military-industrial complex, which is how we're wasting our money. All of a sudden, that argument, you notice she doesn't use that argument anymore. She doesn't talk about war anymore. She doesn't unequivocally condemn regime change. I'm not exactly sure what else you people need to see. It's sad, it's unfortunate, but these are the facts nonetheless. By the way, you want to make sure you turn on notifications, because you don't get the rants after the live stream goes out. You get about 2 hours to go back and look at everything, but after that, you have to be a Patreon subscriber on Patreon. You can donate $1 to be a subscriber. Don't worry. That's how you get the whole live stream. Ruben Masagwa. I don't understand how the progressive movement has two of the most popular politicians and they still didn't speak out against Venezuela or for Julian Assange. That's also something. She's silent on Julian Assange. And not to mention, Julian Assange is a no-brainer issue. Julian Assange is a no-brainer issue. It is cut and dry. What do we feel about Julian Assange? He's a publisher. He hasn't done anything wrong. We know why he's being punished. We know why he's being persecuted. What do you feel about Chelsea Manning? Oh, this Chelsea Manning nonsense. I'm going to do a separate video for that because I got to go into some details about that. But that's going to be up tomorrow morning. But the Chelsea Manning issue. Chelsea Manning right now, people, is being held in custody and being charged $500 a day. After 90 days, they're going to charge her $1,000 a day to be in custody. To be in custody. And AOC tweeting about AOC, repeating things about AOC, attacking Republicans. AOC, 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 AOC. We're tweeting about AOC, AOC, AOC. Every single thing is about her. Like, could you imagine being Chelsea? It's already hard enough being transgender in this country is already difficult as it is. It's already difficult. Being a whistleblower in this country is already difficult as it is. Being a transgender whistleblower is already difficult as it is. When you finally think that the worst of your life is behind you, you get put in a situation that is basically going to land her in prison for the foreseeable future because you don't want to end up in double jeopardy. For a case against Julian Assange and WikiLeaks that should not exist to begin with. At this point, me personally, I have so much respect for her because even though I am strong-willed, at this point, I would be suicidal. And that is not, like, I feel for Chelsea Manning so much, I would be suicidal. And I'm praying that she continues to stay strong. But this is insanity. You don't even tweet about this. Come on, man. Oh, man. That's just frustrating. Chelsea Manning in jail. Julian Assange is in the Guantanamo Bay of British prisons right now. Venezuelans are suffering due to American sanctions, and we're trying to punish them for us sanctioning them. Iran is going through unprecedented poverty because of American sanctions, and we're trying to punish them for the sanctions that we implemented. Afghanistan is still in shambles. Iraq is still in shambles. Syria is still in shambles. But let's wag our finger at Big Pharma and boost legislation that's going to probably worsen the problem and not help it. And pretend like the off act doesn't exist. But I'm the asshole. I'm the divisive one. That's what I'm told anyway. I'm not saying I'm not an asshole. I am an asshole, but at this point, not in this scenario. I can be one. And it's getting real close. But how am I the asshole? Because I want to see the most pressing issues of our contemporary history challenged by someone who has 4.2 million followers and could be an instant headline. With one tweet, the world would be educated on what's happening with Julian Assange. With one tweet, the world would know what is happening to Chelsea Manning right now. With one tweet, she could have the entire liberal movement against regime change in Venezuela. With one tweet, she could educate the entire world on what's happening in Iran. With one tweet, the entire country would know what's happening with the OFF Act. But instead, we attack Republicans for the obvious. We attack Republicans for the obvious, and we talk about ourselves. 4.2 million followers, and that's the best you got. I don't got time for that. And this country doesn't have time for it either. She needs to get her shit together. Or we're just going to... Because at this point, let's be honest. AOC is looking more like Elizabeth Warren than Tulsi Gabbard or Nina Turner. And let's keep it 100 about that. Elizabeth Warren was really good at wagging her finger too. And she's also, hell, at least you haven't gone to advocating for regime change. But I remember at one point when you were calling Maduro a brutal dictator. I remember that. Like, just not even, like, what, February you were doing this? And then you change your mind against your anti-interventionist. And like I said, it depends on what crowd you're in front of. We have to hunt to figure out all of your, I don't have to guess. Like, when it comes to Tulsi, I don't have to guess what she said about regime change in Venezuela. I don't have to guess what she said about the Venezuela embassy, about the people getting arrested there. I don't have to guess what Ilhan Omar said about Iran. I don't have to guess what she says about Venezuela. I don't have to guess what she says about Syria. I don't have to guess what Rashida Tlaib says. But I have to hunt. I'm scared to guess what AOC says, because at this point, if I had to guess, I would guess that she is silent. And as we all know, when it comes to politics, especially foreign policy, silence is indeed consent. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikasa and Sukasa. Once again, I appreciate all of you. Thanks for all the wonderful super chats. We will be live again tomorrow to continue the second half of this show. I just got too much into this one. Got too into it, y'all. But nonetheless, I appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow morning to cover some more. We're going to talk about Joe Biden. We're going to go into detail about the Chelsea Manning case. And we're also going to talk about one of Tulsi's most recent significant endorsements. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you're subscribed. Okay, make sure that you're subscribed. And also, make sure that you help us get to San Francisco for the Democratic Convention in California. In California. We will, me, Fiorella, Craig, and Johnny, our producer, will be going up there to cover it. And you don't want to leave it up to the establishment. We know that. The GoFundMe is on the community tab. I will also be posting it in the comment section here. And you can donate. Any little bit helps. We're over halfway to our goal of 2,000. We actually raised 1,200 yesterday. So help us get out there. Help me raise hell at this California Democratic Convention. Tulsi Gabbard will be there. Bernie Sanders will be there. Nina Turner will be there. Elizabeth Warren, Kamala, everybody. Oh, yeah. We going to have a good time. We going to have a really, really, really good time. You know the first question I'm going to ask Kamala? Why did you feel it necessary to break the record for putting black men in jail in California? I'm just out of curiosity. Y'all going to find out while we let Craig ask the questions and not me. So thank you very much, people. Have a good night. Enjoy your Friday. Be safe. Take an Uber. Take a Lyft. Don't drink and drive. Light one up and roll one up and smoke one for your brother. And always remember, people, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.